Welcome to Chasing Green Arrows again, and today we look at some players with real kudos in the game that will fit into your budget. And gee, these are players that are not really being looked at, are they? These are all lowly owned players.
Yeah, there's no Mohamed Kudus in this team. Like, we have to go for 5 players that are under 10%, and a lot of them are much lower than that. And I think every good FPL team has at least one that they go, none of my mates in my mini league have got that player. So we're going to talk about some of those guys today.
Yeah, exactly that. I think what we all want as well is in that midfield attacking area, players that can help us get someone alongside a Salah or a Haaland or a Wirtz or a Palmer that makes us feel more comfortable than having, I don't know, a Cherky or somebody like that. So I hope you've got some good ones today to throw up. Let's start with the first and see where we land. I hope you give me something to think about here. Ooh. And that one has straight away. You love Pedro Neto, so I shouldn't be too surprised.
I do. I'm glad you picked up on that. Yeah, I do. I do. I loved him at Wolves. I was always gutted that he was so injured because it was someone I just want to watch week in, week out. If João Pedro didn't score those goals in the Club World Cup, semi-final and the final, if João Pedro didn't perform like he performed, I think there'd be a lot more love for this guy. Because this was Chelsea's player of the tournament, probably as consistently throughout the tournament. And he scored goals early on as well. And I think if we wanted attacking cover for Chelsea that wasn't Cole Palmer around this price point, we wouldn't be going to João Pedro. We'd be going to Pedro Neto. But João Pedro is flavour of the month. And he did do all those things. And he is a good pick. But make no doubt about it, Chelsea's first choice wide man, on either side, we saw him play on the left in the final, but he played on the right mostly. But if Palmer's inverted on the right, Neto left, he is Chelsea's first choice wide man. He is above every other wide player at Chelsea in the pecking order. And I think, therefore, he's pretty likely to start the vast majority of football matches when fit in the Premier League, unless his form slumps. Brilliant on either foot, a problem for defenders, an eye for goal, not scared to shoot, which is what we like in FPL, but importantly, only 7 million for an attack that will end the season, probably as a top 3-4 attack in the league. And you can have a part of that for only 7 million. So I like Pedro Neto. Sometimes you see him take set pieces. The fixtures for Chelsea, they are right at the top of the ticker. Just don't know if I'm picking him myself because I might have Palmer and João Pedro and I do rank him slightly higher. But in his own right, he's a very good pick.
Yeah, and he could be better than a Kudus or something like that for not really pushing the bar too much higher. Really good when you've turned the ball over. He can break away with speed and directness. And as you say, he can finish. Like, he really can finish. And it feels to me like he's probably been finding his feet a little bit at Chelsea and that this is the season he actually goes for it. I think, as I've said before in other videos, Enzo Roulette does come into play for Chelsea this season in terms of like the attacking cast.
Yeah.
But particularly in the early phases of the season, I think Pedro Neto will be fine.
I do worry slightly when Champions League kicks in and they're playing Wednesday, Saturday, that's a slight problem. Wednesday, Sunday, Tuesday, Saturday. But for early, I quite expect him to hit the ground running. He was amazing in the Club World Cup. Chelsea's best player.
He was, yeah. Absolutely. What we got next for us, mate?
Yeah, so look, we're going to stick with midfielders and we're going to go, we're going to get to a forward in a minute. This is 5 proper differentials, right? We're going to stick in the 5.5 million bracket for a minute. So guys, if you're enjoying the video, by the way, do hit the like button, but also subscribe to Chasing Green Arrows because we're doing all this preseason content now and we hope you enjoy it. Drop a comment too. Dean and I are always sieving through those. Mate, Adingra's 3% owned. We see him in a Brighton shirt here. He's obviously a Sunderland player. Sunderland have brilliant fixtures. I know newly promoted teams don't score many goals. I fancy them to score goals against West Ham on the opening day. I fancy them to have a chance against Burnley. I actually think they'll beat West Ham. And then Brentford at home is not a bad fixture. Like, this is a brilliant 3 fixtures for Sunderland who have spent big money. And Adingra is one of the few players they bought in that's got Premier League experience, got quality in front of goal. He's going to be one of their main men because of his profile and of what they've already got. I think Adingra could be a real wild card pick. Now, there's more consistent 5.5 options, and many will go to a Caicedo or an Elliot Anderson. They'll pick up loads of recoveries. Adingra won't do that, and he doesn't offer the same floor. His floor is 1 or 2 points. Theirs might be 3 or 4. But what he does offer is a higher ceiling. He has brace potential. He's a wild card.
He is a wild card. But Sunderland clearly are looking to make an impact this season. And if they're going to do that, they've got to hit the ground running from day one. Because like you say, that is a good opportunity. When the fixtures came out, they must have been like, oh, this actually is a chance.
Yeah.
You can't tell too much from the first 3-4 games of a season, but you can give yourselves a platform to build on, and you can give yourself a chance to give those players confidence in themselves. Adingra probably always felt a little bit at Brighton like he could be replaced. Like there was always something else they might be looking at. Like he didn't really know that he was going to remain part of the furniture. By making this move, he's one of the stars of the show. And that fan base is going to absolutely love him when he gives people the runaround. So, I mean, 3% ownership doesn't surprise me because I don't think he's a sexy name in the Premier League. But he is going to be one of those picks as the season gets on, possibly like how Brighton players used to be perceived when you used to like not really fancy Brighton players. And then you get like a Matoma or somebody that starts to consistently produce and you're like, actually, he's one of the best value players in the game. I'm going with him. Obviously, Matoma used to be around 6.5, but a 5.5 Adingra could turn out to be tasty.
We're going to a bigger wild card next, though. Because we haven't seen him in the Premier League, and that is Jhon Arias. Like, I don't quite know what you're getting at Wolves. We know what we get when we see him play in South America, or we see him play in the Club World Cup with the teammates he's used to in an environment he's used to. My concern here is it's the unknown to a very different style of play.
So unknown, they haven't got a picture of him. I mean, that's
you know what I mean?
Disrespectful. Come on, find a picture of the lad.
You've probably seen him slightly more than me. I've seen him bear just some highlights.
I haven't seen him a lot, no, but I'm sure that the makers of the game could have found a picture of him as soon as he signed. Always blows my mind that when you get to like season 3 of the new season, week 3 of the new season, and someone's like just got a photoshopped face on a kit. It's like just get him in, lads. Just get him in.
Yeah, 1% own though.
1%.
He should be a starter for Wolves on paper.
But it will stay that, won't it? Because people aren't going to really have a huge awareness in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, like he could be on pens. If he's on pens, if he's on set pieces, we saw him take an awesome free kick goal in the Club World Cup. He could be the mate. He could be the Cunha. Like he could be the Cunha. If he is, like I get it. There's a lot of players at Wolves that can play those attacking midfield spots that offer something. Menetzi, there's a few of them, right? And they're all probably a similar level, but he might just put his hand up early on. Again, if Adingra is a wild card, then this guy is that and then some. I'm cautious over him. I need to see some preseason minutes.
Yeah, a bit of a hidden gem like we were talking about last week. But yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what this video is all about, trying to set some players aside that others in the game just are not considering right now. And that's what you and Chasing Green Arrows is all about, mate. Let's switch it on then. I want a bit of a more well-known name if we can get one, mate. Let's give people something to really consider. They haven't even got a picture of him. I mean, this guy's famous enough to have a picture. Come on.
He was Serie A Midfielder of the Year last year. McTominay was MVP. McTominay was the best midfielder, but won the award for best player. So they gave Midfielder of the Year to Reijnders, and he was awesome. Milan had a terrible season, but he still got something like 10 league goals. Like he became a goal threat, and we'd known that about him before Milan.
Yeah,
but we hadn't seen it at Milan. And then last year he added goals to his game, and he often was played as like a sort of an attacking number 8, sometimes an 8-10 hybrid. And with that in mind, he was getting late runs into the box, and he's composed in front of goal. This is a guy that starts for the Netherlands. If you're starting for the Dutch team, you're good. If you're winning Midfielder of the Year in Serie A, you're very good. I think he's the midfielder Pep's been wanting. I think he's the ideal partner for Rodri. I think he's an upgrade on Kovacic. He's going to be, I hope he's going to be nailed and first choice. Club World Cup suggests he will be, but again, it's hard to tell. But from when he played in the Club World Cup, he played very well. I like him, and I think he could be a very good entry to Man City. Because if you're not going Haaland, it's very difficult to hang your hat on one of the attacking mids, to bank on a Savinho, a Foden, a Cherki, a Doku. Who knows what minutes they're all going to get? Marmoush, maybe, but you got to spend big money there. Reijnders, yes, he's playing a bit deeper, but he gives you an entry into a Man City team that will score lots of goals, and he might just get a few assists.
Yeah, obviously City have been looking for some smart solutions in this area, and this is one that they've identified to be exactly that in terms of value and potential. So I think you've got one here that's going to play the majority of games. He is a very well-known player. he has a very high ceiling. Like, he can go on to achieve very good things, both with Man City and for himself throughout the rest of his career. Just a case of how many goals he actually weighs in with, we don't know. But I think those first 3 fixtures are going to give us a good idea of where we're at with him. I don't think many people beyond this 5% selection rate are going to come back into the mix for him here. I can't see this going up to 10% or anything.
No.
But in terms of players for your watch list and stuff, I think that this is probably a good one to have.
Yeah. My only concern with players like this is I'm all for taking a punt on someone that might not be a starter. And if they are and you hit, you're winning. Is if you are on a strategy of like a bench boost game week 1, which we'll talk about in a future episode, guys. Stay tuned for that. And make sure you hit the notification bell when you subscribe, and you'll know every time we are live or doing pre-recorded content. It's a risky strategy for going on a bench boost to pick a player like this, because we don't know he's going to be in Pep's game week 1 team. So there's a little bit of fear there. You go for an Adingra, he will be. My next player is going to be absolutely nailed for his club. Performed to a massive level in FPL since Glasner's been in there. Since Glasner's been at Palace, Mateta has been an absolute beast. I don't quite know why he's only 6% owned. Chris Wood's got a lot of love, same price point. João Pedro is 60% owned, same price point. Mateta might be better than those two. Like, he's awesome.
I think there's probably a feeling that people are unsure if he's going to definitely be at Palace. I think that's probably part of it. Definitely have been considerations around a transfer for Mateta, and Man United, one of the teams that have certainly at least looked at the situation. But even if he left Palace and went to join Man United, well, you've got to be starting as a number 9. And I would back him as equally wherever else he goes as I would at Crystal Palace. And Palace should have a good start to this season. 7.5 mil. Maybe that price point is slightly off-putting, but I don't really think he could have got him much lower than that based on what we've seen from him so far.
It would be, I think a lot expected 6.57 because they go Palace attacker that's not named Zaha, Elise, Eze. Like, they just expect Palace number 9s to be cheaper. Well, this guy actually puts up really good numbers, so he deserves his price point. Yeah. The fixtures do turn a few off, though, and I get it. If you're picking 3 fixtures to start the season, 2 of them away, and we know Palace are so strong at Selhurst Park, and away trips to Stamford Bridge and Villa Park aren't easy for anyone. Home to Forest, it's a coin toss still. Like, it's a very tough first 3 games. But you're saving a transfer if you bring him in now, because I do think Mateta will be on a lot of watch lists not before long if he stays and if they keep functioning. Of course, if Eze does leave too, you lose a bit of creativity. But under Glasner and the way they play with the wing backs, Mateta's always going to get chances. I like this pick, and I'm really surprised he's only 6% owned. I think all the players we've shown today, he might be the highest owned, but even it's 6%. It's nothing. No one in your mini league's got Mateta.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Nice one, mate. 5 real good differential picks there. At least have 1 or 2 of them on your mind as we get towards the big kickoff. Remember to like and subscribe. We'll be back with more on Chasing Green Arrows very soon.